You're listening to the Basketball Lab podcast with your hosts Mark Shannon, Mark Clark, and Marco Corona. They'll discuss all the top news and stories from around the basketball world while giving their opinion and insight. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello and welcome to the Basketball Lab podcast. I'm Mark Shannon, and I'm joined remotely, as always, 6 feet apart, respecting government guidelines, by my co-hosts, Mark Clark and Marco Corona. What's going on, boys? Mark, it's great to have you back. We've missed you the last two episodes we've done here.
Yeah.
So what's going on, boys?
I'm back, boys. Good to be back. I had to take a couple of weeks off for the birth of my daughter.
What?
This whole time we were saying, it was a sabbatical.
We thought you went to South Africa.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. Don't make the audience seem like you guys are just learning about this. It's breaking news.
We had to keep it private. This is right?
Yeah,
so we have to respect 100%. That. Right.
But yeah, so just had to take some time off,
Congratulations, by the way.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. Get things right with the family and make sure everything is good. So yeah, I'm back and it's good to be back.
You didn't miss much. I broke into a spot with the soccer player. The Knicks, this, and they might be good. We're not sure. And
Knicks, they're still relevant.
Everybody loves Harden now, so you didn't miss much.
Yeah, and the Raptors have a bunch of COVID players on their team. You know what I mean? There's not much going on.
Not much.
Couple firings. It's all right.
Same old, eh?
Yeah,
Nothing,
same old.
The NBA is very quiet. Very, very quiet.
I like it. Looked like they knew that I wouldn't be here. So
yeah, you didn't miss much. And Matt Thomas is still not playing a lot.
Damn.
Yeah.
This soon?
I mean, he might be playing a lot tonight. I mean, they only had about 8 guys, so.
And what's he, 0 for 4?
I think to be honest with you, I think he just hit a 3, so he might be 1 for 6.
It's because they haven't played him that much. He's getting rusty, man.
I'm not even going to get into the Matt Thomas thing. That we'll save
Nurse. I need to have a talk with Nurse about him.
No, you can't. No, he's isolated.
Maybe
he could be on Zoom.
He's hiding somewhere in the rafters, like with a mustache or something. Like
I'll send him a snail mail. He'll get in by 2026.
Attaboy.
So, boys, are you guys excited for All-Star Weekend? The NBA's new initiative that they're doing this year because of COVID. NBA All-Star Weekend all wrapped into one single day. I mean, I think everybody knows our whole take on the All-Star Weekend entirely, so we don't need to get into that. But, I mean, are you guys excited for it? I mean, I'm not.
I mean,
Are you trying to sell this or not? I'm kidding.
Not at all.
Because whatever you're doing, I'm sold here.
Is this segment brought to you by the All-Stars?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm just asking, are you guys excited about it? Because I'm definitely not excited about it. You know what I mean? Like, this is probably one of the ones that I've been like, wow.
I mean, it's bittersweet, right?
Yeah.
It's not time. There's no real. It's not time for an All-Star break right now and All-Star games and especially with what's going on, what happened with the Raptors. We'll get into that later on and stuff. But I mean, it's there's always going to be some excitement to see all the best players in the league come together and play a game. Whether it's a skills competition, 3-point competition, dunk contest, or just the All-Star game. So it's a little bit bittersweet this year.
I'm confused about the entire weekend. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I want to watch, but I'm mad about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to watch. I want to see who wins the 3-pointer in the dunk contest, and what did you call them? A bunch of fools not playing defense, right?
Yeah, exactly, literally.
And I know that there's a lot of good initiatives coming out, like, all joking aside, from the All-Star break. But at the same time, I'm mad that it's actually happening.
Yeah,
I'm mad that
Agreed.
like they're not even playing the Rising Stars, by the way. I don't even know if we touched on that, right? I mean, it's just going to be they're just going to name them, but they're not going to play them.
Oh.
But I mean, the All-Star game has always been whatever kind of weekend, and then you watch it because truthfully, there's nothing really on that weekend usually, right? And it just becomes a glorified pickup game with a bunch of guys. And this is the 1 year, like, you're like, why are you actually even playing? But they're going to play it, and as much as I'm saying this, I'm still going to watch it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to watch Nashville, Florida.
I'll watch for the dunk contest and stay for whatever. That's just brother.
But the one thing Mark said it there. He said it's a weekend of all-stars. But I mean, the skills competition, you got.
There we go.
Doncic, Sabonis.
I smell a rant coming.
Paul, I think Vucevic, Nikola Jokic, I think too.
Yeah.
All stars.
Yeah. Skills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Elite. Best of the best. Best of the best in the world.
Best of the best. You know, some of the best big men passers in the entire NBA. And then
like you can make the argument that every guy that you just said you can build a team around.
Yeah, no exactly.
100%.
And then to round out the field, you got Robert Covington.
What do you mean? He's the best of the best there.
He's the guy who drove the bus to get everybody here, literally.
Right? Basically.
Like, yo, why is our bus driver playing with us? I don't understand.
It's like I said, I think it's like before this podcast, I think they sent out an email and said, hey, we need somebody for the skills competition. Everybody else had their out of offices on, or they declined the invitation. So we need somebody. And Robert Covington said, yeah, that's me. I'm in. No problem.
I'm good.
Either that or he was in Atlanta being at Magic City, one of the two. I don't know.
We're not even going to get into that. I was going to say something, but forget it.
Wrong podcast.
No. This is the right podcast. Trust me, but it's the wrong time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how he got in there. Is it a fluke? Did he weasel his way in? Like, right? I'm pretty sure there are lots more players that are available that could fill his spot. So it's
maybe Robert Covington is the richest guy in the NBA, and we don't know about it because he had to grease somebody to get in. There's no way. Like
maybe he was the one that did the schedule, like pick the players to play.
Literally, yeah, maybe
one guy. Right?
Maybe he was the one. They said, you know what, Robert, we'll give you the whole thing. You pick 5 guys and you get to play.
Sure. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Just write my name here, and nobody will notice.
Top of the list.
Now, they're saying that if he wins, we're gonna have to do a Robert Covington apology podcast.
Yeah. Just to apologize to him.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, Portland was expecting to get Robert Covington, from a good Robert Covington. Yeah. They haven't had that Robert Covington this season, and yet he's being in the skills competition at the NBA All-Star game. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. But, I mean, moving on, there's another one competition there. But that three-point competition, it's absolutely stacked.
Best of the best.
Right? Some of the best three-point shooters in the entire NBA right now. You got Jaylen Brown. You got Steph Curry. You got Jason Tatum. You got Damian Lillard was supposed to be in it, but he's withdrawing from it. So there's the who's who of NBA three-point shooters.
Zach
But
Levine.
The one question I have, though, and before we get into this, is has the NBA dunk competition lost its luster, and has the three-point competition taken over that spot in a sense in terms of NBA All-Star Weekend due to the fact that the three-point is going where it's at, and it's becoming sort of a mockery, the dunk competition, right? We saw what happened with Aaron Gordon, him getting screwed twice. It's just becoming a mockery in terms of, in my opinion, the dunk competition isn't the same as it used to be. I'd rather enjoy watching a three-point competition with arguably 6 or 7 of the best NBA shooters in the entire NBA going head-to-head for the three-point title.
The dunk competition and the players and the guys who participate aren't the problem. The problem is the judges that they get. That's where the problem comes in.
You're going that route. Okay.
But the dunk competition will always, I think, in my point of view, will always be the highlight of All-Star Weekend. I don't think anything will change about that. Yes, there's been maybe a one off year. Again, I'm blaming the judges. So I think the judges are at fault for whatever rap the dunk competition is getting right now. I'm blaming it on the judges.
Let me respectfully disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. Okay, I think that the dunk competition has taken a backseat to the three-point competition for 2 reasons. Number one, and it's funny, right? It's like, I don't know how to compare it. Like when you go to an All-Star game in baseball, what do you want to see? Home runs, right? Yeah. That's the three-pointer. That's the equivalent of. But I think that right now, what's missing in the All-Star competition in the dunk contest is the names, the brand names.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. To my knowledge, and correct me, boys, if I'm wrong, Zion declined.
Yeah.
You guys are telling me that if you know that Zion Williamson is in the dunk contest, that doesn't you just go, hold on one second. I want to watch the 3-point competition. But did you guys know that Zion's in the dunk competition? Trust me, you're going away. Right now, the average fan, and I'm saying just the average fan, and I hate to use the word casual because I think it's overrated right now and everybody seems to, you're a casual. But the casual old school fan that watches NBA may be able to tell you who the 3 guys are in the competition is, whatever the number is. But they're not attractive names in that sense, right? Yeah. Now, in saying that, on the flip side, what everybody's doing now is the 3-pointer has become the new home run derby, whereas everybody wants to see 3-pointers because that's what they see during the games, right? If you watch a Raptors game, how many times do you see Raptors dunk?
No,
right? Like you might see these young teams like Charlotte and guys with I don't know who else. You can probably pick 4 or 5 teams that actually have guys that actually go up there and get it. But for the most part, either they're putbacks or anything like that. But there's no, other than Utah Watanabe getting destroyed 2 weeks ago, but that's another story.
Well, right? That guy also, Anthony Edwards, he declined as well.
Well, that's my point. Like Zion, Anthony Edwards in a dunk contest. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't need to see anybody else. Give me those 2 guys, and you know what? Throw in Ja Morant just because I want to see him, the little guy, dunk. But at the end of the day, that's what it's missing. It's missing the luster. So to answer your question in a long-winded way, the 3-point competition has definitely taken over the dunk contest.
Well, you're right. It's become a 3-point league, so it's going to be at the front burner right now. But I don't think players are declining because they don't want to play in it. I think
what's the reason?
Most players are declining for just health reasons to remain healthy or whatever. I don't think it's because
dunk. You've been doing that all year. What's the health reason? What for?
I mean, you can't. The possibility of getting injured playing in the dunk contest versus a 3-point, it's not even close when you compare. Can I get injured coming out with a playing in the dunk contest or just shooting threes, right?
I don't know. I
understand
where you're coming from, but I don't know if that's. I don't know if there's more. There lacks an.
I don't think the dunk contest is a taboo and no one wants to be associated with it. I personally don't think so.
But why? Listen, we are still to date, and it's been how many years has it been since the dunk contest in Golden State with Vince Carter? To this date, we're still going on YouTube and any other social media outlet that we can watch every year. It's like, where were you when this happened?
Yeah,
and I still get excited from watching, and I know exactly what happened. We all know exactly what happened. It's over. To me, the reactions that you get from the celebrities and the judges and the stars.
But you see, at that time, at that point in the league, dunks dominated. Barely any player. Probably Del Curry was the only one shooting 3 points. There's not much players out there shooting 3-pointer. But the league has changed now, right? It's a 3-ball league right now. So.
But then that's my point. That's my point is that the 3-point has become so dominant that the event itself has overtaken what we all went to go see, and that's what it's the reverse of the home run derby, right? Everybody wants to see home runs, but the home run is now the 3-point competition.
Agreed. Yeah.
Right. And the dunk contest is basically who can catch fly balls.
Well, exactly. I mean, no offense to Obi Toppin, Cassius Stanley, and Anthony Simmons, but I mean, at the end of the day,
no, not at all.
I guess maybe a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's a COVID situation. There's not going to be any celebrities, nothing like that, and I get it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they're not household names. They're not names that I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to jump out of my seat and say, I can't wait to watch the dunk competition. Gone are the days of, like you said, there's no, gone are the days of Vince Carter dunking. The big time dunkers, Baron Davises, those guys aren't around anymore. You know what I mean? And like we just said.
Richardson, right? Like it's
Jason
like
Richardson
was
exactly.
a mid-card, as to use a wrestling term. He was a mid-level, but that guy could dunk.
Could dunk,
Right?
exactly.
Everybody knew his name, right? And
Exactly.
guys, it just popped in my head, and how crazy is this? We're talking about the Vince Carter dunk contest, or back in Golden State. Tracy McGrady technically could have won the dunk contest if it wasn't for Vince Carter.
Agreed.
True. Yeah.
That's how stacked that lineup was.
Telling
Just think
you,
about that for 1 second.
Yeah, I think, and I said, I
Right.
think the 3-point contest is definitely taken over in terms of it. I mean, you don't have no more Jason Caponos and stuff like that. A lot of the bigger name stars are taking.
Jason Capono.
Right, a lot of those
Jason
guys.
Capono was Matt Thomas before Matt Thomas was Matt Thomas.
Right, exactly.
I'm just putting it out there.
At the time, and that's the thing. And I think a lot more players are like that. You got all-stars doing it, and I get it. We're in the COVID. They've used all stars for the 3-point competition. There's no Robert Covington, so 3-point land joining. But you have all-stars, players that I'm going to be like, you know what? I want to watch those guys go head-to-head at a 3-point competition. Those are the guys that I want to see go head-to-head. I want to see who's the best shooter out of Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Dame Lillard. Obviously, he's not there, but Jason Tatum and all these other guys. You know what I mean? So I guess we'll see what happens. I'm excited for that one, especially. I mean, the All-Star game I never tune into anymore because, like I said, it's a bunch of fools playing pickup. And it doesn't really do anything unless Kyle Lowry's there. They're not playing any defense.
Listen, to me, that was one of the more entertaining All-Star games, if you really think about it.
Agreed.
When Kyle Lowry's taking charges during a bloody All-Star game, that was phenomenal. I had fun watching it. Maybe we're biased, but I don't know. To me, that was fun.
I got a question for you guys though, because we were talking about the 3-point competition. We were talking about the dunk contest. Which player would you guys, just one player, would you guys pick to do both? So it's a combine of dunk and 3-point.
Wow.
I'm right off the top. I'm gonna go with Norm Powell. The player has to be able to do both.
Jason Tatum.
He's a good one too.
Jason Tatum. And just to think, like, the guy first of all, I've seen the guy rock a rim. Yeah. Right. And he's also can shoot the deep ball. So I'm going to go with, wow, that's a great question. Jason Tatum. It makes me sick to my stomach that the first answer out of my mouth was a Boston Celtic, but y'all know how I feel about Jason Tatum, right? So, no, that's wow.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, that's a tough one, man.
You know, it's tough when my guy's dropping F-bomb during a bloody.
Yeah, right. Like, damn.
You know, I'll give you one, Ben. You know who I think would be another good player? Donovan Mitchell, Spider.
Yeah.
I think he would be
that's another good one.
A good choice for that too. But there's not much guys out there that you could do both.
Man, I forgot to drop my line when we went to the Robert Covington thing, though. Who the fuck is that guy? I wanted to drop the Conor McGregor line there. I forgot to drop it. Well, I'll drop it now. Like,
McGregor has entered the podcast.
Exactly. They went down the list and they were like, looking, and they're like, who the fuck is that guy? You know what I mean? Like, they got to the list and they were like, just like, what the hell? Like, who of all people? But anyways, moving on from that guy. We'll move on move it on to the actual All-Stars here. So you guys pick who wants to be KD, who wants to be LeBron James, and we'll go through it. I'll be the moderator here. I'll be the neutral, the Switzerland here, and you guys pick who you guys want to go to your team on the All-Star team. You got to pick your 5 starters, and then you got to go to your reserves. So you guys
who's got the burner phone out of 2 of us, Mark?
I got KD in the East.
I figured he had KD.
First of all, wrong answer, because now we know way too much of what you have. So I hope the wife is not watching the podcast tonight, because clearly you have a burner phone.
What? How far are we into this? About 15 minutes? I'll tell her to skip past that.
Just tune in 15:01 in. 15:01. The rest, crap. Doesn't matter.
First 5 minutes
fun
is
of an
good.
Irish
After
guy,
that,
and that's
it's
it.
boring. Yeah,
exactly.
Robert Covington, an Irish guy. Don't worry about it. Just go 15:01. All right, I guess I'll be. Wow, I have to.
Your favorite player.
This is ridiculous. Okay.
And
yes, fair. I have a pencil. I'm writing this down. I'm showing my age.
So,
who's picking first?
Mark will pick first since he's got to pick Five
Okay.
and five starters and 8 reserves.
Are we going back and forth, or am I?
Yeah, back and forth.
I'm actually okay. So we got to pick out of the pool of starters, which, by the way, I completely forgot. That's how this format went. So in this particular case, I'm gonna take Steph Curry.
Wait, I thought I was going.
Yeah,
first.
bro.
But
Come
okay.
on now.
Go. It's
No.
okay. It's fine.
You
It's
going
fine.
first?
It's fine. Go.
Go.
I
You go
picked
first.
Steph.
You got Steph. It's fine.
Listen,
I-
I got more votes. Didn't I? Didn't
No,
LeBron get more votes?
No, LeBron's
Oh.
playing.
Oh,
KD's not playing. Well, yeah, that's true.
no,
Yeah.
that's correct. Guys, get it together. Come on
Yes,
now.
you're right. You're
I'm
right.
I'm LeBron. I'm picking Steph Curry as my starter.
Okay.
All right.
There you go.
You got Steph. I'll take Kawhi.
So KD has Kawhi.
Yeah.
Shoot, that's fun. Okay. Then if I'm LeBron, I'm picking Luka.
And I'm gonna go with. I'll go with Giannis.
Damn. Okay. If I'm LeBron, who am I taking? Oh, okay. I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna go very Euro. So I guess you know what my
God.
next pick is.
Yep.
The Joker.
And I'll take
Do it.
Luka.
I know you want to. No, I already took.
You already took Luca.
Oh, you already took
attention.
Luka. Oh,
Pay
my
attention,
bad.
Durant.
My
It's
bad,
on
my
your burner
bad.
for
My
not. It's on your burner for
My
not.
bad, bro. I'll take Kyrie.
Wow. So let's just to recap here. Okay.
Yeah, because
Kevin Durant with
my
Kyrie.
bad. I don't have a pen to make notes here.
Okay. Now I'm not too old, right?
So Marco had Steph. He had Luca. He had LeBron. He has LeBron because he is
He's
LeBron,
LeBron.
right?
Yeah.
So and he's got Jokic.
Yeah.
Mark's got so far he's got Kyrie, Kawhi, and Giannis.
First of all, that's a pretty good team.
Right?
Okay? Let's not kid ourselves. So in saying that, I'm taking Bradley Beal,
Damn, come on, bro.
and I don't care about size because,
Where you gonna take Beal?
well, edit that part. Size don't matter to some.
Okay.
If you don't take this next guy, I'm gonna steal him. I'm telling you right now.
I think you messed up there somewhere, Marco.
Why?
Because he's got to pick 5 starters there, eh? So he gets back-to-back picks now. Sorry. Because you got Steph, you got Beal, you got Luka, you got LeBron, you got
you're
Jokic. That's
full.
all 5 starters right there.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, you're full now.
That's a decent team, I think. Is there trades?
I mean, there's only really 2 picks for Mark to choose from.
There are
from the
only 2
starters.
left. So
You got
Embiid and
Embiid?
Tatum. Yeah, and Tatum. Because they're only the 2 left, right?
Yes.
Embiid already got hurt.
I'm gonna kill it with size, bro.
Okay,
Smash the
so
shit
now
out of
here,
Curry.
I'm going to be the moderator now. This isn't no Donald Trump and Joe Biden debate here where, the
Okay,
guy
Chris
Come on, man.
Wallace.
Will you shut up, man?
Okay, Chris Wallace.
But, all right. So now we're going to go. Marco, you get to go next.
So now this is my
Now you're in the reserves.
Reserves, yeah.
I'm gonna piss off KD and I'm gonna take James Harden.
Bro. All right.
And then I'm gonna trade him. No, I'm just kidding.
You're gonna trade him with Knicks? Like,
For Kyrie.
all right.
No,
You
I'm
take
just joking.
James. I'm gonna piss off LeBron, and I'm gonna take AD.
He's not playing.
He's not playing.
Oh damn, he's
He's
out.
not playing. So you
So
can have
my
Devin Booker
bad.
took his spot.
Booker.
That's pretty good. I like to see this. I'm not gonna lie to you. Christopher Paul. Woo! Come on.
Did you pick
Yeah, he
I
did. He
would
picked
pick-
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul?
I've called him by his government name.
Oh. Um,
We're gonna have to get the TNT music going here.
Yeah.
If you don't pick a damn player, boy.
I'm taking Dame.
Zion.
I knew that was coming.
And
I'll
I
take
still got him. I still
Brown,
got him.
Jalen Brown.
Boo. You got 2 Celtics on your team? Mm-hmm. Uh, okay, this is gonna be funny. It is a pandemic, so you know who I'm taking.
Rudy Gobert.
Pandemic P.
Yeah. Hey, he did want to play with LeBron at one time, right?
Right?
Oh, right. He changed his mind, right? That was a trick. He got tricked, right?
Yeah.
Right. How'd that work out?
I'm going with Spider. Donovan Mitchell.
Zach LaVine.
Julius Rondo.
Ooh, the Knicks. 2 Celtics and a Knick. You okay? You okay? Jeez. I'm going to take the Gobert Tower.
Vucevic.
What? Oh, you're taking Vucevic.
Yeah.
And the last pick.
That's me, right?
Right, yeah. The last pick is Ben Simmons.
I got Ben Simmons by default.
Yeah.
Wait, did you pick Sabonis?
Oh no! Sorry, I forgot the
Sabonis
month.
is-
No, I got Sabonis. I'm taking Sabonis. Screw that.
No, bro.
I'll take Simmons. That's fine.
Who did he take the position of? Oh, KD. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's fine. No, but that's fine because he's still not a starter anyway, right?
No, he's a reserve.
Right. So I don't know how much work this is. I think you should put this up on the socials.
I will.
And ask the people who's the better GM.
Who's got the better
Fake
team?
LeBron or fake Burner over here? That was all right.
Yeah, it was. You know,
Too many Celtics for you though. We'll have a different discussion after this.
Watch LeBron. The actual LeBron and KD pick the same team.
Actually, let's see how close we are. I'm actually interested to see how close we are. And if this is very close, then clearly we are in the wrong industry and we should be scouts.
100%.
True. Exactly. And you know, Mark's got a lot of size on his starting lineup. You know, you got Kyrie, you got Tatum, Kawhi, Giannis, and Embiid.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a lot of size for Mark's team there. And I mean, you got a lot of straight up ballers on your team, Marco. So
I'm all about the street ball, man. That's
Exactly.
It's okay. They're all getting blocked anyways. So get that garbage out of here.
That's fun.
I think the biggest news of the week had to have been in terms of NBA, I mean, it's kind of dull and there's not much to talk about. We're almost at the All-Star break, but I think the biggest news of the week had to have been the firing of Lloyd Pierce in Atlanta. They replaced him with Nate McMillan on an interim basis. They did pick up their first win. Nate McMillan's first game with the Atlanta Hawks, but they were with Jimmy Butler. The Heat only put up 80 points, but I think the Heat were more at fault for the 80 points than the Atlanta Hawks were at.
Or you said without Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, they were without Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
they were without Jimmy
right.
Butler. Yeah. But I mean, the expectations were extremely high going into the season with the Atlanta Hawks. You know, they picked up Bogdanovich, Gallinari. They were the most active team in free agency. The expectations were high, and they haven't lived up to those expectations. They're 15-20. Yes, they're still in a playoff in a race for the playoffs, and could easily get in the Eastern Conference because we know how weak it is. But they didn't live up to those expectations. So I mean, at the end of the day, we always say this, and I've always said this in terms of sports, and I think everybody can agree. The coach always takes the hit for the way the players are. But the reports that came out in the news after it was the more troubling behind the whole thing. That the players were the ones that were trying to push it and get him fired. At the end of the day, I don't agree with that. It doesn't matter. At the end of it, you shouldn't be forcing somebody to lose their job. Whether it's true or not, obviously we don't know that. But, I mean, I'd love to get your guys' take on this in terms of that. I mean, at the end of the day, the Atlanta Hawks don't play defense. They're one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA.
They didn't start that way.
No.
So something happened. First of all, we know they're always in a deficit in the court with Trae Young, right? So basically you're playing with 4 guys when in the starting lineup on the defensive end of the court. And as you were talking, I made some notes because I still had my winning pencil from the draft. And then I realized that, you know, there was reports after the fact. But if I'm the owner, the GM, the VP, et cetera, of the Atlanta Hawks, I look at this. Pandemic year, number one. So we all can agree. Every team has the same that same that same aspect. Then you look at the Atlanta Hawks. A lot of turnover, a lot of new players, right? And we said that from the beginning.
Yeah.
The very first podcast is it will be interesting to see how teams that make changes adjust. The more changes you make, the longer the adjustment takes, depending on the makeup of your team. Injuries, they had injuries, a lot of them, and legitimate. Like it's not a guy who's having the flu or whatever.
Yeah.
Youth, they're a young team. Yes, they added some veteran pieces, but overall they're a young team. And time or lack thereof, you got to give this thing time to grow.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that at the end, regardless of what the reports say, which I find really obscene and really ridiculous, really, that players were pretty much dogging it. I mean, that's what that tells me, right? Like all of a sudden I know that Jimmy Butler wasn't playing, but all of a sudden you look decent after you get your coach fired. I don't think this team was given enough time. And I think Lloyd Pierce got really the short end of the stick here. And this is on management, right? At the end of the day, we all knew that this team was going to make a push or they're going to be competitive, but I don't know what the expectations were. And maybe to your point, Shannon, that these expectations were maybe too high, but I mean, really, like, I don't get this one. This one stinks to me. Lloyd Pierce will get another job somewhere, whether it's a head coaching or assistant or whatever the case is. But if this is the case where the players rallied around each other to get the guy in charge fired, then shame on them and they deserve to be where they are.
Yeah, I agree. I also can see
that's what happened.
Can see it from both sides, right? If this decision was influenced by the players, then shame on them. They are where they are. They deserve to be at the bottom of the pack. But at the end of the day, as you said, there has been a turnover in the team. A lot of new players. It's going to take some time for them to mesh well. They're what, 37 games in. I mean, they're still only halfway through the season, right? Yeah. So it's going to take some time. But and on the other hand, I understand it, and I'm saying this from a Dwayne Casey, the Raptors point of view. If you look at it like that, where one coach has been with the team for a certain period of time, the team is just not excelling to where they should be or could be. They haven't really meet their potential of what they can do. And like, how long do you wait? And at some point, the team, the players, they just need a new voice around them and stuff. So I understand from both ends.
Yeah, and I mean, I get that part of the statement, but the difference is, I think, in terms of the Dwayne Casey situation was he had just won Coach of the Year. The Raptors were a playoff team. They weren't able to get over that hurdle. The Atlanta Hawks haven't been a good team. They haven't been a good team
in the
last few years. They haven't. Ever since they drafted Trae Young, it still hasn't changed. They haven't been a playoff team. They haven't been able to do anything. They brought in Lloyd Pierce and they were hoping things would change. It never changed. And I get, but the difference was they didn't give him time for this season. They're 15-20. It's not like they're dead in the water. Like they weren't 7-27. Yeah, exactly. They're not the Minnesota Timberwolves in 7-27 right now. You know what I mean?
Firing him was a little bit premature.
Right. I think it was premature in the sense you look at, obviously we can't compare the situations because Brooklyn has 3 superstars and the Atlanta Hawks only have Trae Young in terms of superstar type players. But Brooklyn didn't fire Steve Nash when the Brooklyn Nets were doing subpar. You know what I mean? They gave them time to get back. And now look at the Brooklyn Nets. They're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference right now, one of the hottest teams in the NBA. But at the end of the day, the coaches always fall on the sword for the players. It's always the way it's going to be in sports, whether it's NBA, NHL, NFL. It doesn't matter what it is. The coaches are easier to fire.
Yeah,
you don't have to trade them. You don't have to get rid of a player. You can't cut a player, guy, right? You can't cut a player that isn't playing well or isn't playing up to their expectations. But again, like Marco said, Bogdanovich has been hurt. Gallinari's been hurt. They've been dealing with a lot of issues in terms of that. So they haven't been able to build that chemistry up. They've come back, and I think Bogdanovich came back last night, or his last game was their last night, I believe, and they ended up with the victory. But it's only one game, and there's a long season. So I mean, I think it was a premature hiring. I think he drew the short stick, like Marco said. I think he got the short end of the stick in terms of that, and he should have been able to maybe see it out for this season. And then if they didn't do anything this season, fire him at the end of the season. What's the difference? You bring in Nate McMillan. Yes, maybe he'll be able to turn it around, but Nate McMillan wasn't able to really turn it around in Indiana either.
Right. And let's face it. I mean, it's not like they're bringing in another guy in their team to, be a difference maker. And meanwhile, by the way, this is in the middle of trade rumors with Collins. So now you have all these moving parts, and one of your best players outside of not named Trae Young is on the block.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you
I'll take John Collins.
Of course. Absolutely. Right. This guy's a stud. First of all, he's going to cash in the offseason. I don't think he gets traded, but he's going to cash in. Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, and I think it's unfortunate. I think the Atlanta Hawks got this one wrong at this particular time. They should have waited. They could have waited. They had time. They're 15-20, 5 games under in an Eastern Conference where 500 gets you potentially a top 4.
Yeah, literally.
A home court game, at least in the first. Like, to me, it was a panic move.
Yeah.
Nah.
Agreed. I totally agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
So it came out in the news the other day. Some soccer player by the name of Zlatan, or Zohan, as some people like to call him, came out and made a comment. And I mean, it's been said before about sports athletes, especially LeBron James in general, where they're being basically told to just shut up and play their sports, or shut up and dribble, as Laura Ingraham said there. But at the end of the day, they're humans. And they shouldn't just shut up and not speak about what they want, because Piers Morgan, I mean, Marco will know who knows who Piers Morgan is, right? Arsenal fan, till he dies, complains about everything, all that stuff. He doesn't play soccer. He doesn't stop talking about sports, does he? We don't play sports, and we're talking about sports, so why are we doing it? You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, some people should be allowed to speak on whatever topic they want to speak to. That's what free speech is about in terms of the democratic countries and places like that. That's why they have free speech. You should be allowed to say whatever you want to say. And if I'm LeBron James, I don't even let that bother me, because to be honest with you, Zlatan is a little bit of an idiot. And, he may be a good soccer player. He may have done a lot of good things for Sweden and AC Milan and LA Galaxy and whatever it is.
LA Galaxy sucks.
Right? Well, yeah. I mean, I'll say I'll say that with you too. I'll say LA Galaxy sucks as a Toronto FC fan, but you know what? These players don't have to. I don't think they should shut up. Keep doing what they're doing, in my opinion.
I think what bothered me the most is not the fact that Zlatan spoke out, is the context of what he said.
Yeah.
Which is hypocritical, because he spoke about somebody speaking out about something that he feels he shouldn't speak about. But then if that's the case, why are you talking about it?
Yeah.
Right? It shouldn't be convenient for you to speak about it. And it's well known and been documented that a few years ago, he spoke out about how he was treated because of his background. And just for anybody who follows or doesn't follow, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is not a Swedish name. Okay. He's not a Swedish origin, but he spoke out about how he was discriminated against because of his background, his last name. Right. To me, that's social, but that's also politics because of where he was. At the same time, I got some flack from some people on social media, shockingly enough, and I got into a bit of a back and forth. And I think a lot of people missed the point. Some people were arguing, well, LeBron only speaks out because when he does and he makes donations, he can get a tax break, et cetera. First of all, don't penalize people because of what they earn. And if he wants to get a tax receipt for whatever he does, good for you. I'm not going to judge you. But LeBron James or any athletes, if they choose to speak on things that matter, whether it's social injustice, politics, whatever the case is, then go ahead. That's fine. It's your right to speak. We don't have to agree with what LeBron says or does, but he shouldn't just shut up because he dribbles a basketball and he's really good at playing basketball, right? That would be like a math teacher not being able to talk about geography because you're a math teacher. So you stick to your numbers, but when it comes to geography, you let me do the talking, right? Or don't talk about anything at all because you stick to teaching. So if I'm a teacher, I'm not allowed to talk about anything else because that's basically what what Zlatan's saying.
Yeah.
And yes, he has done a lot of great things in soccer, and we're all here soccer fans, and you know, the guy's a human highlight reel. I think that we can all agree on that. He scored. You can put a top 50 of soccer goals in the last quarter century, and he'll probably come up in 5 of them.
Yeah.
So he's no slouch. He's also very high on himself, right? And he speaks out a lot, which is what the part that really makes me laugh, because he is the first guy to speak about anything. He talks a lot about himself. If you ask him who the greatest soccer player is in the world, he'll tell you it's him.
Yeah.
Zlatan. I am the great one, right? He's the self-proclaimed greatest soccer player in the world, right? And you know who, and I read this up the other day, and it's funny, and it dawned on me, and I'm like, wow, this guy's crazy. One of his biggest idols was Muhammad Ali. What did Muhammad Ali do? He went into politics and social injustice.
Yeah.
Right? So you are a fan of the guy who did exactly not exactly, pardon me, let's not get too far. Sorry, my apologies. But basically the idea of speaking out against what you believe in is one of the idols that you looked up to, but then you're giving LeBron James shit for believing in something. Whether you agree with him or not, that's fine. And I get it. You know, sometimes politics and sports and this and that don't mix, but it doesn't mean that you don't have the right and the platform, if you have it, to speak on it. And that really bothered me all week. I don't know why it really did, because I don't like LeBron, but I respect a lot of what he's done off the court, right? And if he wants to speak on politics, and if he wants to support, you know, Hillary Clinton or whoever the heck he wants to, that's his prerogative. Guys, let's not forget, the president of the United States was an actor.
I was just about to bring that up.
I'll leave it at that.
I was just about to bring that up. I was gonna say, it's funny. I don't want to make it about race, but it's funny when a black basketball player speaks up about injustice, all of these stuff, just right from wrong, basically, and it's a problem with everyone. But when a reality TV host run for president or become presidents, that's fine. When an actor become governor, and white actor become governor, that's fine. But when a black basketball player wants to speak up, literally right from wrong, it's going to be a problem. It doesn't make sense, and there's some hypocrisy behind it.
There's a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
It's not even hypocrisy. It's just a double standard. It's plain and simple. It's a double standard.
Yeah,
certain people of certain colors are allowed to get away with what and say and do whatever they feel like.
Yeah.
And people should just be like, okay, well, you know what?
Just
they're allowed to say it. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense. And this is how LeBron is. It's not LeBron, like, he's not gonna come out and say, hey, don't vote for this person, don't vote. But he will come out and he'll show you the facts.
But he'll tell you the why. He'll tell you the why.
Yeah, what's wrong, what's right.
It's up to each individual to whether you want to believe it, understand it, respect it or not. And that's all you can do, right? And I think Zlatan's missed the point that a lot of people are, because this has caused a division in sports fans and politicians and this and that you should stick. Basically, he said, stay in your lane.
Stick to what you do. Yeah.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah. So if you're a garbage man, just pick up garbage. Don't
That's
try
it.
to help the postman deliver mail when there's 5 feet of snow outside. Right?
Yeah,
or if you see the postman stuck in the snow, don't try to help him.
That's not my job. I'm just a garbage guy.
Snow. But it's like athletes like this guy who has such a huge platform where people listen to them. If you don't speak up about what's right from what's wrong, about social injustice, racism, and all these stuff, you're straight up weak. And I'm gonna leave it at that. You're a weak guy.
But it's also funny. It's like I didn't see him outraged when Novak Djokovic was having these COVID parties and having these COVID tournaments himself. You know what I mean? And he basically saying that COVID was a hoax. He didn't come out and say, you know what, maybe you should leave that to the scientists. Scientists should be talking about that, right?
And the foul.
Yeah,
exactly. You know what I mean? And he didn't come out and say something like that. He picked on a certain person who has been obviously outspoken towards social injustice and voting and all that stuff. And he's been picked on before, and it ain't going to phase LeBron James. And it basically didn't phase him. They asked Zlatan to basically clarify his statements, and he basically doubled down on it in a sense. Right? Yeah. And basically,
you know what? If we're going to give him credit for something, I will give him credit for having the balls to stick to his guns. I will give him that, because that takes a lot of testicular fortitude to basically know and be criticized, whether you're wrong, and be like, meh. I said what I said.
First of all, who is he compared to LeBron James to tell LeBron James what to speak about and what not to speak about?
And I think that's the problem too, Mark. And the fact that, again, Zlatan has the right to agree or disagree with what LeBron says, does, whatever. We all do.
Yeah.
Right? This is a completely different podcast, maybe. Right. But that's the problem. He literally is saying, you, LeBron, who are in this segment of the world, and this is what you do, should not do or speak about this over here, because that's not your job. I'm a soccer player, and I'm basically, so it's ridiculous. If Zlatan doesn't want to talk about politics, he doesn't have to, but you shouldn't tell somebody else what he or she should or shouldn't do.
Agreed.
That's the problem.
Agreed.
Right. But it is what it is, I guess, for him, and so be it.
He's not smart enough to understand.
Great soccer player, great mind, but this was terrible pun, offside.
I wouldn't say great mind.
Red card.
I mean, great soccer player. Sometimes
I don't know Zlatan, and I'm sure that he's a smart guy, and he's probably, and this is the one thing, I'm not going to attack him on what I don't know, because I'm sure that he's done his part in contributing to society and to his folks in Sweden and his homeland as well, and his parents and this and that.
Oh, for a smart guy, he's saying some dumb shit.
He does. He puts his foot in his mouth a lot. Zlatan. He's always done that, but I mean, and he won't back down. And maybe, like you said, Marco, there's credit to him that he doesn't back down. But I think LeBron James just better, just dust it off his shoulder. Just say, who the hell cares?
Doesn't phase LeBron.
Basically, I'll say it again. Who the fuck is that guy?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We're going to have to turn that in a segment.
Basically,
we might get a lawsuit from TNT because we play for.
We might get a lawsuut from Conor McGregor, but
or we can get Candace Parker in. Anyways, go on.
Well, now that you just brought that up, I totally forgot about that. I almost forgot about that.
I didn't.
But can we get more Candace Parker on NBA broadcast?
Yes.
Man, she is a smart woman.
Oh, okay. That's what you're going to say. Okay.
No, like, she's a smart woman in terms of basketball IQ, in terms of knowing 100%. The game and talking the game. There's got to be more. And, a lot of this stuff gets talked about in terms of, like moderators and they do it for sex appeal, and they have adding it for sex appeal, like Rachel Nichols and all those guys. But there's a lot of women that know a lot about sports. And you're talking about arguably one of the best women basketball players to ever play the game in Candace Parker, right? Yeah. You're not talking about some slouch. You're talking about somebody who's played at the highest level, won gold medals, I don't know, I'm 100% sure. I think she's won WNBA titles, right? You're talking about one of the best players to ever play the game. And she's on a panel with Dwayne Wade and Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah. Right? And she basically, in my opinion, schooled Shaq. In terms 100%. Of the way they knew NBA play.
She schooled the entire panel, not just Shaq.
Well, yeah.
But she was going at Shaq, but yeah.
Well, because Shaq was basically saying that, what she was saying was basically wrong. But the game's changed since Shaq has played the game. That was 15 years ago.
I know what Shaq was trying to do. Shaq was trying to make a point that he's right. And I don't think by any means, and let's just, put it into context here for people who don't know what happened is, Shaq has a certain shtick. right? We all know Shaq, and I personally like Shaq. I like
Yeah.
him on TV. I like him on TNT, what he does and
I
whatever.
feel like I'm on AEW.
I'll get into that in 1 second. Let's stop this nonsense. But all joking aside, Candace Parker is one of the smartest basketball minds on TV, period. And I don't look at her as, we need more Candace Parker because she's a female. We need more Candace Parker because she brings it every single night.
She knows what qualified. She knows what she's talking about.
And I'm just going to say it. She is not going to let anybody mansplain the game to her. And she shouldn't. Because I'm telling you right now, first of all, there's a lot of dudes like us that are probably like, I can school her. No, you can't. Trust me, you can't. She will put you, what did I say to you? She will put you in a body bag straight up.
And she's quick with it too. Like she has a quick brain.
And it's not because she is an absolute gem to listen to.
She knows her stuff.
I've actually learned a lot from her because the way she talks about the game with the passion and with the IQ, more than some of these jackasses on TV that think they know the game, whether they played it or they're media guys. We actually do need, and all joking aside, we do need more Candace Parker on TV.
Agreed.
And if there's any young ladies watching this podcast or watching TV, basketball, etc., and I know that you have a young daughter that literally very, very young, so she's not there yet, but she is somebody that if I had a daughter, I would want her to look up to Candace Parker.
Role model.
She conducts herself and she talks about the game, and she doesn't talk above the game, but she talks about it. And I think, to me, that's what's most impressive about her.
Absolutely.
Candace Parker reminds me of Doris Burke.
Right.
When Candace Parker talks, when Doris talks, you stop and you listen.
I listen. 100%.
You listen to what they have to say.
100%.
Because they're not just simply talking about the ball moving up and down the court. They're actually teaching you. You can learn from what they're saying. So whenever they talk, you listen, period.
Well, and that's the thing.
Great example, Doris Burke. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example. I know everybody talks about certain learning from certain, people in different sports and commentating. Like, Chris Collinsworth is a good teacher of the game in terms of a play-by-play guy. Tony Romo, another guy. Who knows?
I don't know, Jim.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? But like, they've played the game. They know the game. And Candace Parker is, to me, of that ilk in terms of she knows the game. She talks the game very well. And she's got a high IQ for the game of basketball.
High IQ.
Excessively high IQ.
Right? Exactly. I 100% agree. I think they need to have her on more broadcasts and make it more of a
just hide her on a Tuesday night broadcast, by the way. Put her on the panel on a Thursday night with them boys and just let her just cross over.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say this. Candace Parker can coach an NBA team right.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
And it's not just because she's a woman and equality and stuff. That she knows what she knows her stuff. She is qualified.
In saying that, to piggyback on that, women do need more opportunities and they should get it, because I think guys and old school people, and I'm just gonna say it, there's a lot of, certain level of hierarchy that are just looking at certain segment of the population is like, well, no, you're this, and then you're a woman, and you look like this, and you shouldn't be doing this. It's a Zlatan factor, right? You're a woman, you stick to your sports.
Zlatan factor.
Nah, Playboy. If she can call a game, if she can analyze, if she's just better than Jimmy Smith over there across the street who works for the, whatever, I wasn't just going to drop a name for a radio station, then she can do the job. That's it.
Agreed.
Period. End of story.
Yep.
By the way, it's Women's History Month, so I'm glad we got that in there. So shout out to all the beautiful women, the mothers, the sisters, the daughters out there, because they deserve it.
Listen, I got a special shout out for a certain type of woman. Shout out to all the single moms out there. Trust me, I don't know how you guys do it. We have help right now, and trust me, I'm beat. So all the single moms out there, shout out to you guys. I have a total new level of respect just for
Send my guy some oxygen, by the way.
Yeah, he's basically sleeping right now through the podcast, right?
He doesn't even know we're recording.
He doesn't even, yeah, exactly.
It's all a dream.
Right, exactly.
I'm gonna see this whenever it's posted and be like, what the hell?
Yeah, when did this happen?
Robert Covington.
Yeah. Who the fuck is that guy? Right? Last topic before we end off the podcast here, COVID has been an issue in the NBA, in the entire world for the last basically year. But the Raptors have been one of the fortunate teams in terms of basically skirting it.
Avoiding it, yeah.
Right? They avoided it until this week. Right? And
all fell apart.
Right? It all fell apart. Nick Nurse and the coaching staff, Pascal Siakam, and then what was it?
Yeah.
Monday's game got postponed because there was 6. They didn't have enough guys because of COVID protocols and everything like that. And then Tuesday night's game, same thing, and then it was pushed back to today, right?
Yeah.
But
they had to bring in the entire G League.
Yeah, basically.
You're welcome, Detroit.
And now whoever they brought in from the G League can't play in the playoffs because they got to be in quarantine.
In the G League playoffs?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the G League playoffs start in 2-3 days.
Yeah.
It's only a 15-game season.
So Malachi Flynn and all them guys can't be.
And Harris.
Playing.
Wow.
But Flynn's been with the team for.
He's been with the team for
a while now.
Yeah, but Harris and all and them guys can't play in the playoffs.
Send Matt Thomas. He's fine.
He'll get more minutes over there.
You can't send him either because he's got a quarantine.
No, that's fine. Figure it out. Because that's what the NBA said to the Raptors. Figure it out.
Basically.
So, figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough stretch now for the Raptors. I mean, good thing is they're kind of going into a break, right? So they only have it was 3 games, now only 2 because the Bulls game got postponed. They played Detroit tonight, so they only have, I think, Boston tomorrow.
Yeah,
back to back, which they'll probably get blown out. I mean, the Raptors, they're full of surprises still, but it's
true.
It's a tough one. I mean, it was bound to happen. To be honest, they couldn't avoid being. Basically, they were the only team. I'm not sure how many more teams out there.
There were 3.
3 teams. So basically they're not, and I mean they're also playing in Tampa, Florida. I mean,
well, at least they're not
Florida,
playing in Texas. At least they're not playing in Texas.
No, let's not go there.
But I mean, Florida is almost the same. It's
no, you're
basically the same. The governor
has to talk politics, boys,
and lift all the protocols, but it's basically the same. So it would happen at some point. It's sad that it happened when they basically got their game back. I mean, Pascal is playing good. Norm was doing good and stuff, but at some point it was going to happen, and it's sad how it happened too, because basically all the coaches are gone and majority of the team and starting lineup.
Shout out to Sergio Scariolo, though, for holding down the fort 1-1. So we'll take it, right? Or actually 0-1 because the other one didn't count. But, it's, again, and it sort of ties into how we started this podcast about the All-Star, right? And it's ironic because we all were begging and pleading and complaining about Freddie should be the All-Star, this and that. But he also needs rest. But there's also COVID. So everything really, be careful what you ask for, because he's not going to the All-Star game. He got COVID, but he also got his rest. Because if you're really going to look at the glass half full, at least these guys that are out, who've been logging heavy minutes, like Fred, who was at that point at least top 3 or top 2, I think, behind LBJ, logging heavy minutes, he's going to hopefully, get some rest, not the way he wanted to. Obviously, you don't never want to get rest by being isolated because of COVID. But, to your point, Mark, it was bound to happen. It's a numbers game. It's not a matter of if, but when. And I don't know, maybe if you want to, again, look at another glass half full analogy, is that at least it happened in the first half, because the second half is absolutely logjam with games. If I'm not mistaken, they have 8 back-to-backs.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know where that ranks, and I'm pretty sure I'm willing to bet that it's
I think
probably
it was
top
the
three.
most in, yeah,
Right.
yeah. I think
Uh,
it's the most in the league.
Shocking,
Yeah.
right? And so, I mean, it's unfortunate. I still don't understand how you can get an entire staff for the most part, plus one of your players or two, and then have the game go on. And then you get four more guys go on COVID lists and have to basically just power through a la NFL, right? But it is what it is. This is what the new world is with COVID. They're going to have to power through to a lot of games. Do I agree with it? No. Again, another reason why you shouldn't have an all-star game. And it'll be interesting to see. And I know that today they put some new parameters that if you're going to the all-star weekend, you have to stay in your hotel room the night before, not going out. Guys, it's going to happen. Somebody's going to go out. Somebody's going to get COVID. Okay.
Robert Covington.
100%.
Wow.
Oh man.
But it's yeah. Let's you know what? If there's any team that can withstand something like this, it's this team. Right. Tonight was rough from what I see. I understand as we record this, they got the break speed off of them, but this team will bounce back. And like you said, they're full of surprises. So who knows? Maybe they beat Boston by this time tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish them all the best. So hopefully they'll actually
first.
recover health soon and healthy, because
Yeah.
we all know there's other underlying stuff that's linked when you have COVID, right? There's other
for
like
sure.
respiratory sickness and just not being yourself.
Look at Tatum. Tatum said that he still has trouble tasting stuff or smelling, I think.
Yeah, or even he I think he's playing like less minutes too, because he's not breathing properly on the floor. Like it's still taking a toll on him.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully they all recover soon.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, you never wanted it to happen. You don't want it to happen, but I mean, maybe it came at the best time in terms of the end of the season or at the beginning of the season in terms of play wise, because they were doing really bad at the beginning of the season. They had just got it together. Now, they go into the All-Star break. They get an extra week. Basically, they play tomorrow night, and then they're off until the 14th. So they get an extra, basically, a week of rest and relaxation.
Hope it all goes well.
Right, trying to get those players back, the coaches back. Hopefully, all goes well in terms of that in that time frame. But I guess we'll see what happens over the next week or so. But you know what I mean. But we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, health and safety first, folks.
Yeah.
Again, guys, if you're watching this podcast, you watched it all the way to the end, click on our subscribe button down below. Right, just click on it. We got more videos coming. Right, we got more videos coming. Go to our Instagram.
Click the bell too.
Right, exactly. Click the bell for the notifications. Go to our Instagram, the B-Ball Lab, at the B-Ball Lab. We got lots of things going on. We just dropped the one today. It was called Who Would You Rather Wednesday, between Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, and who would you rather have on your team if you started a franchise right now. We're going to drop more like that. Our podcasts are all there, all that stuff. So check out our Instagram or Twitter. It's the same thing. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, wherever you could basically get your podcasts fixed. We're there. So
subscribe and message me. I'll get Mark to cash up you.
Oh, Marco, you mean? Marco. Are they right?
Big money things.
Right?
Big money things. Share, like, subscribe, suggest, hit us up. If you want us to talk about something, we will. We're going to talk about NCAA. We have a lot of stuff popping up that Shannon has put up. Women's basketball as well. WNBA. The tournament is coming. Trust me, we're going to talk about March Madness because the madness is here. So stay tuned. A lot of good things coming down the pipeline. Let's go.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Basketball Lab podcast.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Basketball Lab podcast. Make sure to follow us on our social media. You could follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the B-Ball Lab. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Basketball Lab podcast, and you could also find us on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon Music.